Plus that hundreds, they been blue. I'm young and I'm rich, but you been new. You don't wanna start with me? I can get them off of me. No, there ain't no top of me. Pretty bitch, you topping me. They pay me a walking fee. I'm married, that's all my jeans.
It was a great night of fights at the Apex. Kind of good to get settled back down at the Apex after a couple weeks.
I don't know how I feel about the vibe at the Apex, dude.
No? You don't love
the crowd's
Apex?
missing at the Apex, dude.
The crowd's missing, but it's almost like a refresher to get back to the Apex. It's nice. The Apex was built beautifully, and it served its purpose beautifully during the pandemic to get us through such a rough time with no sports. It was amazing. I love the Apex. I always like to get back there. Dana White says that the Apex will always be around. I think this is something that we'll see as we start getting back to more events with crowds after a couple weeks of with fans and everything. They'll come back, kind of reset. They've got the Dana White's Contender Series going on weekly, of course.
Another five contract night at the Contender Series this week, I believe.
I did not have the chance. I was actually out shooting around the golf. I did not have the chance to watch it this week. But I did hear it was another 5 contracts. You know, the Contender Series is great. It's doing a lot of great things for the UFC, giving them their own kind of promotion to build up this talent, kind of like the Ultimate Fighter. A lot of good fighters, like someone we'll talk about tonight with Joe PYFER coming off of there. We kind of kick into one of the bigger fights of the night.
Yeah.
The star Joe PYFER.
Body Bags PYFER.
Joe Body Bags PYFER.
Body Bags with a Z.
With a Z. There ain't much harder nicknames in the UFC than Body Bags. This dude burst it out. The first episode of this season's Dana White Contender Series. He comes out. He's the only one of that first episode that got a contract. Dana White says, if you want to be in the UFC, be like Joe PYFER. He said, be Joe PYFER. Be like Joe PYFER if you want to be in here. Come in here and show it. He gets his first, that was in July, and he turns around, fights again here in September. Ends up KOing the guy, TKO KO. Round one, really quick. He said it was
2 minutes in.
About 2 minutes in.
Wait,
he said it was
a minute in.
A minute? Yeah, about...
a minute and 5 seconds, right? Yeah.
Something like... No, 3 minutes and 55 seconds in. So just about a minute until the end of the round.
That's how much was left. Okay, misread that.
And so, he said it was a slow start for him. He come out, he was electric. He immediately took center of the octagon, dominated the octagon, had control, and just kind of let it loose. There wasn't a ton of striking. A lot of feeling out was going on, but he ended up getting the best of Amandowski, and he hit him with a nasty. It was I believe. It was a fake uppercut check hook that come over the top and dropped him, and it was awesome. He stood over the top of him, flexed, screamed a little bit, and then hit him with just one more.
Dude, Amandowski, when he threw that punch, Amandowski woke up and had no idea who he was. Just woke up to Joe PYFER throwing a punch at him.
That's great to see Joe PYFER. That was on the main card, but not the top middleweight main fight.
But
I think he's going to be a star.
He will.
I really think Joe PYFER's about to be a big star. He got on the mic and gave a shout out to Dana White. I guess when he went on the Dana White Contender Series, he said, that he could not afford to pay his last month's rent. So when he went there, it was like 2 days before he got evicted, and he was like, I put all my eggs in this basket. This is what I was born to do. And Dana White paid for him a place to live for a year
and gave him some side money
on top of that for being the guy that showed up that night and kind of saved that night, because I did watch that night, and it was what saved it. It was kind of boring. I didn't even know who was going to get contracts that night, and it ended up only being Joe PYFER. It was a great fight, man. I'm really excited to see him. I'm curious how long it takes for him to get a top 15 fight, because as you've seen, there's the Sean O'Malley approach where they kind of give these guys some time to grow. And then Joe PYFER, who is someone I think that is ready for that next step. I think he is.
I think he's steps above a lot of other fighters.
I agree, and I even think we'll talk about it a little bit later, but I think he's a little bit above Gregory Rodriguez, who was our co-main event tonight or last night. And so I am curious if they'll do the more of the Sean O'Malley approach and let him fight these cans and build up a profile and build up a name to be this big, huge star, or they'll just feed him right to the wolves.
Yeah, that
and
will
just
be
see how he
interesting to
does,
see.
sink or swim. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he'll be really interesting to follow. He's really good. I think he could be a contender.
Only side hunters, they been blue. I'm young and I'm rich, but you've been new. You don't wanna start with me? I can get them off of me. No, there ain't no topping me. Pretty bitch, you topping me. They pay me a walking fee. I'm married, that's all my jeans.